In this video, I'm taking you on a 5-day Interrail trip from York to Wrocław in Poland, involving 2 overnight sleeper trains, 43 hours of rail travel, and a few unexpected moments where the flexibility and spontaneity of an Interrail pass turned out to be totally invaluable. Join me on my trip, and thanks to Travel Boast for this awesome graphic.
So one thing I was trying to prove to myself is that you don't need weeks or months to be able to have an Interrail adventure. I've got a 10-year-old daughter and I work full-time, so I need to compress my solo visits into really short periods of time, but I still wanted to get a little buzz of adventure and I wanted to try this Interrail thing. Is it possible in just 5 days?
So in this video, I'll cover the journeys, how I got there and what it was like, the rewards, like my favourite places in the cities that I've travelled through and to. And then I'll ask the question, was Interrail worth it? But then I'll answer the key question, would I do it again? On to Eurostar, often a favourite section of mine, but not this day. The food wasn't great in standard Premier. After a bit of a wander around Brussels, I came back for my overnight sleeper to Dresden. Arrived in Dresden to this fabulous saxophonist, so let's go on a journey with him around Dresden. I'll show you some of the sights.
So I'd arrived in my destination city after 28.5 hours of travelling, and that included a couple of hours wandering in 2 of our finest European cities, Brussels and Dresden. I'll show you some of my favourite parts of Wrocław later, but I'll now just quickly walk you through my journey home, which was just as lovely. The intercity train direct from Wrocław to Berlin was running properly on my return day. I'll come back to that when I talk about how the Interrail ticket was so useful. And what a lovely train. In first class, I was in a compartment for 6 with really comfy seats, and as it turned out, a really interesting bunch of people, including a lovely German lady of about 60. She was happy chatting in a mixture of German and English, and we fell into conversation with a serious-looking man who turned out to be in the Ukraine military, who was heading to Berlin for a meeting. He was happier in German. He was also really good at lifting down all the ladies' suitcases from the racks, but I needed no help. You've seen my little rucksack earlier. I took some time away from the compartments as well in the fabulous dining car, and I had a change of window seat to accompany my excellent meal. The only downside was that I accidentally ordered a cider instead of a beer. It wasn't a language error, it was a brain one. After a little explore of the Potsdamer Platz area in Berlin, using the S-Bahn instead of the U-Bahn in order to use my Interrail pass, I was back for my return sleeper, which did admittedly leave quite late. Continuing in the theme of all things Ukrainian, my companion for that evening in the sleeper car was a Ukrainian lady in her mid-30s. Was again really chatty, and we had the most brilliant conversation until quite late at night when we settled into our comfy berths. On the return journey I was on the bottom berth. I'd been on the top, on the outward. I'm not sure which I prefer really. There's a privacy in the top berth that's really nice, but of course you get a little bit more headroom in the lower berth, so 6 and 2 3s, pros and cons. But I wouldn't say that you've been dealt a bad hand, if you will, if you end up in one or the other. And so there I was in Brussels early in the morning with a mid-afternoon departure to London to head home. So that gives me a lot of time. What shall I do with my time? Well, it was here I really used the luggage locker as well. It was around the side of platform 6 at Brussels Midi. Very easy to use through your phone. So I left anything that I didn't need for a day trip, and I took myself off to Ghent on a train with my Interrail pass and no reservation needed. I spent 5 hours exploring Ghent, a city I've wanted to visit for a long time, and as you can see from my snaps, had a lovely morning. I made sure I got back to Brussels in good time, and I headed to the Pullman Hotel bar at Brussels Midi. This was a really chill place to be for a little while. My journey home went really smoothly. I ended up arriving home half an hour earlier than intended, which pleased my family immensely.
And back to the main event, Wrocław. Here are a few snaps and descriptions of my favourite places in this fabulous city.
When people think about Interrail, they often think about a month-long holiday crossing Europe. And if you've got the time, that's wonderful. But I think that there's another way of using the Interrail pass that's talked about much less. For me, rail adventures need to fit around my full-time work, my daughter's school terms, our family plans. And that means that I'm usually looking for 4 or 5 day trips to fit in with those other commitments. That's one of the reasons I found the Interrail pass so useful. On this trip, what I was paying for with the Interrail pass was the flexibility, and I really made the most of it. Before I'd even left York, my plans changed. A week before I travelled, it became clear to me that I wasn't going to be able to travel between Berlin and Wrocław on the train that I thought I was going to be able to take, the Intercity Direct. That's because there was some engineering work going on, which has been going on for a very long time, apparently. So what I was able to do was to realise that I could extend my sleeper reservation to Dresden, which I managed to do for no additional cost, and then take 2 local trains across from Dresden to Wrocław. Because I hadn't had to buy my intercity train ticket between Berlin and Wrocław, I lost no money, and it was an easy change. And then, of course, there were my side quests in the various cities I visited. I didn't take up on any transport in Dresden, but I used the S-Bahn in Berlin as part of the Interrail pass. And of course, my 5 hours in Ghent was essentially a freebie. My train ticket from Brussels to Ghent and return fit neatly into my day, and was incorporated into my pass, of course. That flexibility to just travel on a whim and decide which city you fancy going to for the morning, I think is the thing that I love the most about travelling on the Interrail pass. I think the Interrail pass teaches us that value and price aren't always the same thing. Sometimes all you need is a few days, a rough plan, and a willingness to let the journey take you where it will, and you'll have a brilliant time. So, would I do this trip again? Absolutely. I would definitely go back to Wrocław, but I will certainly be taking another Interrail trip